This video is going to show you an incredible Arc Hunter build and a little farm to go along with it. You've just saw the initial clips. This build can deal with many ultra VIPs and multitask them at once. It can one cycle barriers, overloads and startables. It can do incredible boss damage as well. It's a very good all-round build, this. And that's what I'm going to cover and the overside of it first, and then the actual little farm at the back end of the video. This is regarding Arc Hunter, Arc Staff with Raid and Flux. This has been on my mind. How does it now perform with a high super stat? That was my question today. Right, that's basically what my question was. And having done my tests, it stacks also with the melee stat, which some of the supers do in the game. So basically, Arc Staff will count as melee damage and super damage. So you can double dip on stats for the super with Raid and Flux that does massive amounts of damage. It increases the duration of Arc Staff and the damage that it does with Synapse Junctions. Now, what the original Arc Hunter build was that when Edge of Fate came out was this. Let me show you it. Gifted Conviction, Gathering Storm. Because Gifted Conviction gives you damage resist on an Ascension pop, and then Gathering Storm is a safe super to use from distance. That's what people were doing. But I was like, we can take this a step further, man, and make it a lot more fun than what it is. Because Gifted Conviction, whilst it is good, it's very boring and by the book. We already know how this works. I already know how this works. What I didn't know how was what would work is Raid and Flux with the amount of damage it now does in the game. So we can buff the build, in my opinion, or make it more interesting at least. You do lose DR by not using Gifted Conviction, but the upshot is you get a much better super because of it. So there's a trade-off. Do you want more DR or a better super? But the super is DR. Your Roman supers give you damage resist, so you technically do get still some damage resist. And the super is much more powerful, and it scales with all the stats. So you can double dip with melee, high super. So the stat recommendations are high melee, high super, tier 7 class ability minimum, and try and get a bit more weapon stat than what I did. I'm still fine-tuning stats. I need to go to the loot cave and farm tier 5 Paragon armor, which I'll do that at some point. And then I can make the stats even better on the build. But right now, today, I'm showing you it. I'm acknowledging to you right now, my weapon stat is not good enough for the build. It needs to be higher than this. At least tier 7 for this. There's a bit of a double-edged sword with it because you're getting amazing melee, amazing super, which stacks with all your super, and it stacks with Tempest Strike, which I'm talking about in a minute. But then you end up having to sacrifice a bit of weapon stat. Yeah, but you cannot sacrifice on class stat. It needs to be tier 7 minimum. Minimum requirement. If you don't do that, you won't be able to punch dodge properly. And it gives you your Ascension, which is very important and critical to the build. When you're not punch dodging, what's that Ascension cooldown like? Well, you can alleviate that stat, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So that's the stats explained now. You don't need to run 200 super stat. You can soften the blow by running a 160 super stat. I've got 159, you know, but let's call it 160. And you can run font mods to pop it to 200. Same with the melee stat. You can soften the blow with that, right? So that's what we're going to show you now. Double super font, so that's 20 each. That gives me 199 super stat on orb pickup. A melee font on the arms gives me another plus 20. That equals 176. Can't count here. What's going on? 176 melee font when I pick up an orb, because I'm 156. Right? So that's going to alleviate what the build's regarding, right? Regarding the stats. So you're going to get a very good uptime on these stats, stat-wise, sorry. So there's not a lot of demands. If you get an orb of power, you're nearly like max stats on these stuff, right? So that's how you alleviate that. Now I talk about the actual setup, right? So Arc Staff, of course, we're not going to use something else. Arc Staff. Gambler's Dodge needs to be on. Combination Blow is on. Pulse Grenade, because it's a very strong grenade. But remember, we're not really worried about my grenades. I will get plenty of grenades by running Shield Crush. Shield Crush will allow you to still get plenty of grenades, even though that your grenade stat is basically nothing. It won't matter. You're only using your nades sparingly on this build. It's not really about the grenade, right? But it is useful for stunning overloads, etc. But we've got more things in the kit to stun. And I could even run Flashbang if I wanted. Or Storm Nade. I mean, you don't really need Flashbang nowadays, I don't think. There was a time when we did need it. You don't need it on this build, and I'll explain why. Aspects are... Well, I'll explain now. Arc Staff blinds targets. You saw that in the initial footage. It blinds. Blinding means unstop. Yeah? Okay? So, Tempest Strike is the newly buffed melee aspect, and you pair that with Ascension. Ascension's too strong not to use. So you can do Ascension, Tempest Strike, Ascension, Tempest Strike. And Punch Dodge. You do your Punch Dodge to build up times 3 buff. Then you can do a Tempest Strike to get the melee buff with Tempest Strike with the melee stat. Fragments, a spark of shock for jolt on your pulse grenade if you need it. It's just always nice. I mean, it increases total damage as well on your super. If you just pulse nade a boss and then super them, you're doing ad clear and more damage to that boss with your super. So it's adding a little bit more super damage technically if you save a pulse grenade. Spark of Vault, I've got this on for plus 10 class ability, and it will make me amplified, which is nice off a finisher. And it's plus 10 class ability. See, it saves the build. You see how this fragment's saving me? It's just in time saving me for that tier 7 class ability stat. Spark of Ions for when you kill a jolty target, you get ball charges, right? And Ionic Traces. Spark of Resistance is your damage risk, so we're going to at least get some DR with the build. And finally, Spark of Focus. Now, it is minus 10 weapon stat, but it's well worth to use, because when you're not punch dodging and you're running to a next encounter, you will get more Ascension. Therefore, you can still sort of spam Ascension without punch dodging at a low stat. Do you understand how it's softening the blow on the low class stat? Right, that's it. We've had that. We've give you that. Artifact mods. There's not a lot of artifact mods that really help me. It's only Shield Crush. I've got some stasis stuff on, because I've got a stasis weapon on and Scarve and stuff like that. Elemental Days, all the general stuff. So the farm's going to be in Whisper, just showing you a quick run, as... Basically, Whisper's very good for Ascendant Shards. Now, the reason why you're going to want a lot of Ascendant Shards and Enhancement Prisms coming up is because when you lot start getting tier 5 armor, which is very soon, it's right around the corner. When Ashen Iron launches, you will go from 450 to 500 unbelievably fast. Make no mistake. Most people are going to get 500 power. It's going to be more common. Right now, 450 is not common, but you just watch. With the portal buffs, it's all going to be... The game will come to fruition, but you're going to come in... you're going to have a problem. The problem is Masterwork and Tier 5 armor is very expensive. However, a lot of people have said Tier 5 armor is not much better than Tier 4, but it is still technically a little bit better. It's maybe 4 or 5% better, yes. But Destiny 2 players need closure. They will want a Tier 5 full set, so that they can get closure in their mind to say, I have now tier 5 armor, and they're going to want to masterwork it. So despite whatever you say to me, or to other people, and say, oh, well, you just need tier 4, that's not how a Destiny 2 player works in their brain. They want closure, and they want tier 5, and they're going to need lots of Ascendant Shards for it. So you need Ascendant Shards and Prisms. Whisper will give us a lot of that, and you can technically farm Whisper for these materials. You're going to need a load, alright? I'm giving you a heads up about it. So that's all of that bit explained. Now the weapons, right? So now we can elevate this build with Bastion. Bastion got a massive buff. It's basically your go-to melee weapon. Pretty much. There's shotguns that do it as well, but Bastion's incredibly strong and it's unstoppable intrinsic. It always has, well, not always, but it's been strong now for 6-7 months, but it's gotten a bump since Edge of Fate. So I'm running that. I'm just running this Scout because it's a rocket Scout, and by the way, it has not been touched. This Scout rifle is still doing incredible amounts of damage with redirection. Bungie has not patched it. It's exactly the same as what I made a video about a week or so ago. It's an OP weapon. It's just, I don't need to explain it because you've seen the video. You should have seen it. And then finally, Aurora Dawn. Aurora Dawn with Sharp Harvest will make up for the low weapon stat on ammo brick drop rate. This will solve my weapon stat problem. Sharp harvest. That's why I keep a sharp harvest sword. I know that flash counter has a unique effect with cold steel, but that doesn't matter to me. The ads are dying anyways. I need more ammo for special. Sharp harvest alleviates the weapon stat problem. Understand it? That's basically, so that's my weapons. So now with the finally on with the card. Oh, we got Postmaster full again. I am the devourer of postmasters. The tower's on its 6th employee. They're getting fed up of me. There's been complaints put in. This lad's not picking up his loot. I'm stuck in that little cubby with engrams all over. There's complaints being put in. I'm not bothered. I'll go and pick up that loot when I'm ready for it. I've got a video to make. The card, Whisper. So I'm just running a base card because we're farming. Remember, it's farming. Conquests are coming out in a week. We can sweat in conquests. In the meantime, we're farming. Mats. I'm running Rage and Shroud, Banes, Difficult Soul of Fret, nothing on column 2, and finally Slayer. If you can run Slayer at any time, run it because it's a big buff. So I'm running Slayer because I'm solo and it's going to proc automatically. You get it free when you are solo. Slayer is a free mod. As long as your card's B+, you're good, you're going to get A grade rating. Because you do Whisper incredibly fast that you get A grade automatic. And the video shows you if you don't believe me, watch it at the end. I will always get A grade on this card. Because I do it so quick. But the card's set up in such a way that we will do it quickly. Okay, so that's the card on with the run. Okay, so on with the demonstration of the build. I'm going to speed up the jump maze. Just because we want to talk more about the combatant side of things with this build. We want to see the damage it's doing. It's super wise. Tempest Strike. The combination blow. Just what it's like, right? Now, obviously, I'm going to be able to test this out in conquests when conquests are buffed and are in the game repeatable. Right now, they're not. It'll be next week. When that comes a thing, I'm allowed to test things a lot more on a consistent way, because if I do a test in there, somebody else can just load up the conquest and also do the test, rather than me making customized GMs and saying for you, on this day, test this GM. Bear in mind, the GMs have a life cycle of 24 hours. Daily reset. If those green mods or red mods aren't up or whatever, then your farm's different. Do you understand? The conquest is going to be standardized, so the mods should be fixed, and that when I do a test in the conquest, when you go and test, it'll be the exact same test. And there's no fiddling with mods. Do you understand it? So I'm waiting for that. In the meantime, we're farming mats, armor, and stuff like that. So like I say, I'm just going through the puzzle. We know the puzzle you should do. If you don't, obviously just follow the route on screen. But I want to evaluate more so on how this build is performing. That's the main purpose of this video, right? So we're getting to the combatant phase. A few seconds now. Halfway to a super. Obviously, having more than 100 super stat is hugely beneficial. You need way more than 100 to really make this build and amp it up. As much super stat as you can get, really. Take out the 2 snipers first. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to start dealing with some of the Thrall first. I want to spawn in the second wave in this room as soon as. There's 2 overloads. There's a sniper, but I'm not bothered. We'll get them in a minute. There we go. I spawn in the second wave. Post-grenade jolt goes down on that overload. I'll get an ascension up as well. Clean up that overload with a Tempest Strike. Nice. That procs the Bastion perk as well. Obviously, all melee damage does. Then I'll get rid of the second overload with my Cold Steel Sword with Sharp Harvest, so that I keep getting my special ammo back. Remember, this alleviates the low weapon stat. Sharp Harvest is your workaround. If your build is highly centric on melee and super and your weapon stat is lagging, then pop on a Sharp Harvest weapon like this. There we go. We quickly clean up that bit. Now I'm going to melt down these 2 unstops. Remember, Bastion's unstop. Tempest Strike. 1 KO champ. Nice. Get rid of the rest of the ads. We'll stun here. I haven't got kinetic loader on, and you can tell there. That's okay. We get the champ just in time. But yeah, it is kind of annoying I don't have kinetic loader on, because Bastion's a slow reload without it, but that's alright. Okay, this room, I'm just going to temper strike that knight there, and I work my way around this windowsill area. I'm not going to pop super. I'm actually going to pop super on the unstops. It'll save time on the run, because this room is now done. It's literally just the overload at the back and just some of the ads, some of the snipers and stuff. I stun that champion with a grenade. Look at how many nades I'm getting. I'm getting a nade when I need it. I've turned my pulse grenade into more for stunning overloads, or I use Ascension, either or, because Ascension will also stun overloads. Now this final unstop, he's awkward, of course, just get rid of him. Temper strike doing really good damage, obviously it is with the high melee stat, etc. Get rid of the blight. Now I use the rocket scout just to quickly get rid of the snipers. And there is 2 unstops behind me. I'm going to pop super because they're right on me. I know they are. There we go. And the heavy attack stuns unstops. The heavy slam, not the light swings. And then I'll use my remaining super for all the scions. Because we just want to get rid of them. They do actually quite melt the scions. But the super done incredible amounts of damage there to the 2 unstops. Just melting them so fast. And it was in an awkward spot as well in that little cubby. Okay, just get rid of the rest of the ads. Now, this is where the build really shines. The goal of this right now, because it's a very good test, is Whisper for this. We get weak there, just off the wall. It's a good test because we can spawn in the bosses and see what the damage is doing. Can we melt all 3 bosses with the super? Basically, that's what I'm going to be trying to do. Rage Bane here. That's fine, he knocks me back. Bit of Ascension. Remember, Ascension will give your Temper Strike back as well. Get weak or fall damage, that's okay. Look at the DR, see? Damage resist on arcs, not bad still without Cryptic Conviction. I'm playing a little sloppy with things and I'm still surviving. I know it's not minus 40 delta and we need to think more about that, but that's alright. Conquests are coming, so we'll wait on that. 3 boxes, go to the back of the map first. This will help out because the boss seems to TP. I'll get a Temper Strike in, Pulse Grenade, and then the Bastion damage. I'll do as much Bastion damage as I feel comfortable with, then I pop super. I'll try and pop super before shields break in. And the combination is light, light, heavy, light, light, heavy. Look at this damage we're doing here. I'm going back and forth, back and forth. That's a very quick melt, I can tell you. I know there's grapple melee in the game, but we know that, right? Grapple melee will get nerfed. So grapple melee loyalists, alright, you're having fun, but just remember, Bungie won't have you do that forever. They won't let you do that forever. Okay? So we'll do a Temper Strike on the boss, an Ascension, a Jolt. And we'll just do Bastion damage. Decent damage there, nice. I've got my Temper Strike to use again. I could get Combo Blow off the Thrall, but at this level I don't really need to. I just want to get shot at the boss, because we're farming. I'll whip out the sword just to quickly get rid of the wizards. But yeah, I'm impressed with the amount of damage it's doing. And it will still do incredible amounts of damage at minus 40. And it will still deal with champions at minus 40. If you don't believe that, well then wait for the conquests. Because I'll run this build on conquests. And show you that it will. It'll be less damage because it's minus 40. Everything's less damage at minus 40. But you see what I'm saying. I'll finish the boss off. I'll get my Ascendant shards, my Ascendant my prisms and all that stuff. That was a showcase of this build. It is very good, especially with Temper Strike. And the super is just the icing on top with Raid and Flux. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.